false. There's more than 4,000 people living in Costilla County. False. It's about 3,500, according to a 2010 census. It'd be interesting to see what those new census numbers have to say. 44, true or false. Ute Mountain is located in New Mexico, but you got to go into Colorado in order to get to it. That is true. How many arrowheads were found at Stewart's Cattle Guard? How many arrowheads? How many Folsom points? How many Folsom Point arrowheads were found at Stewart's Cattle Guard, which is an major archaeological dig just north of Costilla County by the sand dunes? Stewart's Cattle. How many arrowheads? There were approximately 64. 64. Who did that? Who did that? Who made a bunch of fucking arrowheads and goddamn, all the way up there, the Stewart's Cattle Guard? Who made all them arrowheads? Huh? Tartaria? You want to talk to me about no fucking Tartarians? Tartarians came out here and just fucking made some arrowheads and shit, killed a bunch of fucking buffalo, and then just fucking left. Tartarians supposed to be geniuses and shit. I mean, what the fuck? That was the extent of what? How many anvils and hammerstones were found at Stewart's Cattle Guard? 19. They found 19 anvils. How many anvils do you have? So you got anvils, you got arrowheads, you got a bunch of buffalo bones, you got a wolf. They found there was wolf bones. So you had over 30 buffalo bones, 49 different animals. How do you explain that? What's the fucking answer, right? The Smithsonian Institute, they say, is the Folsom people, and that people have been around for 10,000 years, and, the Native Americans have been here in San Luis Valley for at least 10,000 years, since the last ice age, right around the last ice age. When did Mexico win her independence? 1821. What does Hopi mean? 1821. What does Hopi mean? Hopi means behaving one. One who behaves. One who is mannered, civilized, peaceable, polite. Who adheres to the Hopi way. My God, we need so many Hopis. Where are the Hopis at? Are there any Hopis in Costilla County? Do the people of Costilla County, do you know which Native American tribe you hail from? You know the Zuni word, Keisha? Kashi? You know what that means? Kashi? Kashi means hello in Zuni. Hopi means well-behaved. True or false? Franciscan priest Salvador de Guerrero beat a Hopi man named Juan Suna to death and only got fired for it and sent to Mexico City in 1655. True. 51. True or false? Hopi Juan Suni was sent to Santa Fe to live as a slave because he impersonated resident priest Alonso de Posada at Owatovi in 1656. And Owatovi. So, fucking crazy. Goddamn, Franciscan priest beats the shit out of a Hopi man, kills him, and just gets fired, right? Just, loses his job and has to live in Mexico, has to, go somewhere else, has to live in another city somewhere. But this Hopi was just impersonating the priest, just one day he was just mocking him, or just what? He was the one at the altar and doing the fucking rites and shit. Now he's gonna, he has to go to jail or live as a slave for the rest of his life. Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. So the Hopis get fucked over for nothing, but beat the shit out of a Hopi man. Just go on to Mexico City and just get on out of here, you. You know what a muleteer is? There's all this, the Vargas Entrada, they had muleteers. A muleteer is just a teer who runs a mule. Just a guy who, knows how to drive a mule. True or false? July 7th, 1694 is when Don Diego de Vargas reaches Colorado. July 7th, 1694? No, it's July 8th. 54 approximately. When was the Acoma Pueblo built? So how long were the Pueblo people here? When was the Acoma Pueblo? Sky City, right? The Acoma Pueblo? Is that what we're talking about? Sky City and not Acoma Meat, though, right? There's 4 Pueblos there. So when were them 4 Acoma Pueblos built? 1100 AD. 1100 AD. 920 motherfucking years ago. So the Spanish, okay, that was very impressive, Spanish. You got Santa Fe, 1607, fantastic, 1607, but you know what? You want to know something, conquistador motherfuckers? The Acomo Pueblo people, they built their shit in 1100 AD. 1100, you got here 1607? My God, 500 years later, and it's just what, that was 400 years ago? So that means the Acomo Pueblos were here for a longer span of time than Santa Fe has been established. The Acomo Pueblos have been established when the Spanish came up longer than how long Santa Fe has been established so far today. 500 is more than 400, right? Last I checked, 500 was more than 400. True or false, Juan Bautista de Anza was the founder of San Francisco. True or false, Taos spoke Taiwa. Northern Taiwa and Pecos spoke Towa. Is that what the Pecos spoke? They spoke Towa. True or false, June 3rd, 1694. Farfan, another goddamn Franciscan, brought 220 new colonists to Santa Fe. Farfan brought 220 new colonists to Santa Fe. Yeah, that's why Don Diego de Vargas is stealing everybody's fucking corn, because that Franciscan brought 220 new, more motherfucking mouth-breathing, fucking cheese-eating sons of bitches to Santa Fe. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? Well, I guess we gotta go rob Taos. Gotta go rob the Taos Pueblos. What are the three main sections of the Folsom People's Buffalo butchering spot at the Stewart's Cattle Guard Archaeological Site? So if you know anything about the Stewart's Cattle Guard Archaeological Site, there's three main sections. There's one spot where they're killing the buffalo and butchering the buffalo, at least starting to butcher them. There's another part where they're just processing hides, just the skins. So they're processing skins, then they're butchering and killing, and then there's the residence area. They had to station themselves there. They didn't just kill 30-something buffalo, in one given fell swoop. They, camped out for a minute. They camped out for a minute or two. So those are the three main sections of the Folsom People's Buffalo butchering spot at Stewart's Cattle Guard Archaeological Site. 59, what years are the first term of office for the first governor of Colorado? That would be 1877 and 1878. 66.5. So how many people did that Farfan bring in June 1694? 220 is what we just said. 200 over 200. These are acceptable answers, but 66.5 families. Apparently that's the official number. It was like, they said there were 70 families, but really it was 66.5. Okay, shit. Who gives a fuck? And 200, 220, that doesn't tell me how many individual peoples are. Just tell me how many individual souls. How long have the Folsom people been in North America? I'd say about 10 to 11,000 years. The buffalo that they found at the Stewart Cattle Guard, the genus species of that buffalo, well, hell, that's just bison, ancient, what is it? Bison, antiquus. Antiquity, it's old fucking, it's an ancient bison. So bison, antiquus. So why'd they find all them skeletons of bison, antiquus, all them Folsom, people's arrowheads? And they're like doing these rudimentary shit, fucking just processing. You know what? I'll actually say this. They had to do, they brought wagons and carts and mules and muleteers when they came up to hunt buffalo and shit. Where the fuck how did they get those buffalo out of here? You had 30-something buffalo at the Folsom, at the Stewart's Cattle Guard. How did they get those buffalo wherever they were taking that buffalo? Did they have horses? I mean, it was 11,000 years ago. There was a dog that was there, or a wolf or a big dog. We'll go with wolf. I mean, dogs used to be wolves. They're probably wolves, right? So there was a wolf. They didn't just sit there and eat it because they didn't live there forever. Basically, they killed 30 fucking buffalo and a dog or the wolf and left. And, I mean, that might have been a season, right? Just came around, set up camp during the summer. Killed a bunch of buffalo, got, some buffalo hides and some blankets and, some jackets and shit. I don't know. Maybe they just wore it. Maybe they ate heartily and wore it. I don't know. I don't know. But it's not Tartaria. That's for goddamn sure. That's for goddamn motherfucking sure. 63, that's Pueblo. 64, true. 65, true. 66, true. Pueblo or Plains, San Lazaro, San Cristobal, more Pueblos. Listen, there's, 46, 26, dozens of Pueblos. So you got, just about 7, maybe a dozen of the Plains Indians, Kiowa, Utes, Comanche, Apache, Navajo. But the Pueblo, San Lazaro, San Cristobal, Pecos, Piqueres, Taos. True or false? Taos, New Mexico is where the historical northern Taiwa lived. Yes. Taiwa, that's also, what was that other city that spoke Taiwa? There's a city that spoke Taiwa. I'm only see. That's important. Taos. Okay. Right. Right. The Taiwa speak Taiwa. Okay, true or false? Towa lived in San Juan Pueblo. Now, this is interesting. San Juan Pueblo, they're going to change their name to Oke-Owingeh. And Oke-Owingeh, that's what they call their town today. They changed it in 2005. So they changed their name in 2005, and now it's 16 years later. When you look through history, though, San Juan, it's so easier just to say, oh, the San Juan Pueblo, and that's another Pueblo people. I guess it's the Oke-Owingeh. So that's another, Pueblo people. And some of these Pueblos have like 10 to 20,000 people. It's not a small fucking deal. 10,000 people? There's more people in these Pueblos than there are in Costilla County. So is the Towa true? 65 is true. The Towa lived in the San Juan Pueblo. This is actually, I want to say Popeye. Popeye was probably a Towa. Popeye came from the San Juan Pueblo. So Popeye came from the Oke-Owingeh. Let's call it, what they call themselves. That's what they call themselves officially today. Oke-Owingeh. The Towa live, probably still today, but the historical inhabitants of Oke-Owingeh were the Towa, the T-O-W-A people. 66, true or false? The Oconoclasm fury happened against the Catholic Church after the so-called Pueblo Revolt of 1680. 66, that's true. That is true. And so, the Oconoclasm, so after Popeye runs the Spanish out of New Mexico, and the brown people, they control New Mexico for 12 motherfucking years. The Oconoclasm fury is going to happen right after the Pueblo Revolution of 1680. So they kicked the fucking Spanish up out of Dodge. But the way that the revolution began was in their own individual pueblos. They beat the shit out of and killed and destroyed the church and the priest and what have you. So there was many revolutions in the village. And then they all coalesced in Santa Fe on August 10th. They were supposed to do it later, but then somebody got caught, and then the rope, Popeye had like tied ropes together, so he was able to transcend through. There was different languages, so there was all these different Pueblo Native Americans, the Rio Grande Pueblos, but they couldn't speak to each other. They could speak to each other, in their own Pueblo, but they couldn't talk to each one of the Pueblos because there was Towa, Taiwa, Keres, Tanos. They spoke different languages, like 6 or 7 different languages, but Popeye was able to transcend languages because he had this rope, and he just tied a knot, 20 knots in each one of these ropes and give it to each one of the Pueblos and said, untie a knot for each day because this, once you're done after the 20 days, that's when the revolution is going to happen. And it was successful. They beat the shit out of Spanish. I want to say maybe 1,000 or 2,000. They killed like 500 and then ran 1,200 or something out of New Mexico. Ran them all the way out of New Mexico, out of Santa Fe, out of New Mexico. They went to Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. 67. Why did Vargas begin his entrada northward into Colorado in the summer of 1694? Because he had all them new motherfuckers to get food. That's to steal food by bullet or. In Costilla County, Vargas finds a bunch of poop, bunch of shit. Was it dog shit? Was it buffalo shit? Probably buffalo, right? Yes, true or false, the traditional enemies of the Utes were the Tiwas, the Tanos, the Pikiris, the Jemez, and the Kiris Pueblos. Jemez, I didn't mention the Jemez Pueblo, and then the Owinge Pueblo, Kiris Pueblo, Pikiris. Yeah, the Plains would fucking sack the Pueblo. The Plains were nomads, following the buffalo and shit, and then there were the Comanches, the Apaches. They would just fucking, you know, basically pull a Don Diego de Vargas on the poor Pueblo, and, you know, the poor Pueblo people, the Tiwas, Tanos, the Pikiris, Jemez, and Kiris. And the reason why that's important is because when Don Diego de Vargas runs out of New Mexico, he's running away from the Taos Pueblos, he's running away from the Apache del Ocho. So he's running away from the Apache. He's running away from the Taos Pueblo, which is interesting that, you know, Plains and Pueblo have united in that instance. The Apache del Ocho, I feel like that's very specific Apache. But they're going to run into the Utes. And the Utes were way up here by themselves, just doing their own Ute stuff, right? Speaking their own Ute language. So the Utes were up here. I want to say like 300 Utes. And they were Plains Indians, so yeah, they were opposed to the fucking Pueblos, so there was a kind of a your enemy's enemy is your friend kind of deal going on there. 70, who was Colorado's 7th governor? Colorado's 7th governor was also Colorado's 1st governor, who is John Long Route. John Long Route. Not Long John Silver, but John Long Route, R-O-U-T-T. 71 is Pueblo, 72 is Arrowhead, 73 is Plains, 71, Zuni and Hopi. Were they Plains or Pueblo? They're Pueblo. They're Pueblo. The Zuni, they really like snakes. There's something about snakes with the Zuni. The Hopi, those are the well-behaved and the polite and the decent and the nice and the lovely and the caring and the sweet and the kind and the Buddhist, basically the American version of Buddhism. 72. Folsom points were found at Stewart's Cattle Guard site. What's a Folsom point? That's just an arrowhead. Plains or Pueblo? Between the Apaches and the Utes, those are Plains Native Americans. On July 12th, 1694, how many Utahs, which AKA's the Utes, attacked Vargas just after he crossed the Rio Grande? Good question. I said 300, isn't that what I said? And I got a question mark. So I guess we'll have to come back to question 74. We're coming up 3 more days. We're going to be in Colorado. The next day we're crossing the Rio Grande. And then the next day we're getting attacked by the Utahs and we're attacking Buffalo with the Vargas Entrada readings that I'm doing. So, I don't know. I'm saying 300 for now. 75. How many Utahs were killed in this ambush? 8 Utes are going to get killed and none of the Spanish. So they ambushed them while they were sleeping, but they were still able to not get killed. And they killed 8 Utes, and then they're going to powwow as if nothing fucking happened, which is incredible. And they said, oh, we didn't know you was the Spanish. We thought you was the natives pretending to be the Spanish. And you know us. We love the Spanish. We are your friends. You know, we're your friends. The damn Pueblo fucking, yeah, we know how them rat bastards kind of, they killed 8. The Spaniards killed 8 of the Ute people, and then they just made up like nothing fucking happened. And then the Utes and the Spanish are going to get along famously, I guess, after that. What does the Ute expression, Anshe Pauishi, is the A-N-C-H-E-P-A-U-I. There's 3 vowels, right? The P-A-U, Paul, I-She, Paul, I-Ishe, Pauishe. What does Anshe Paushe? This is what they said to Vargas. Hello, my friend and brother. Or just my friend and brother. Anshe Paushe. I guess friend, brother. Anshe Paushe. Hey, Anshe Paushe. Anshe Paushe. I think I like that Keisha greeting a little bit better. What's that? Keshi? Ah, Keshi. Keshi. Ah, Keshi. Keshi. Anshe Pausch, no, Keshi. Plains or Pueblo Comanche, Cheyenne, Arapaho. Plains. So the Cheyenne and the Arapaho, which are going to be the victims of the Sand Creek Massacre, they were Plains and Native Americans. They were not Pueblos. They were not Puebloan Native Americans. They were plain Native Americans. The Plains Indians, I guess, to use that terrible... What did Zeb Pike do with his men suffering from frostbite when crossing the Sangre de Cristo Mountains? And he's going to cross at the Medano Pass. But he left them. He left them. You know, they're dying of frostbite. Poor guys, you know, been traveling as far as he's been traveling. But they can't go nowhere, and they can't fucking move, so he's just like, well, here's some food. Good luck to you. And then when he gets, you know, to the place, he goes back and gets them. But, you know, the frostbite set in. They, I guess, I don't know, gangrene, chopped the leg off. I don't know what the fuck happened, but, yeah, shit. Zebulon Pike, he came, you know, he wasn't like the Entrada, which he had like 100 people or so and a bunch of horses and mules. Zebulon Pike came with like a dozen people. He just needed a dozen. Just give me a dozen people. I'll go on. 79 Taiwa or Cuyamungue. These are Pueblo Native Americans. Which pass of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains did Zebulon Pike cross? That would be the Medano Pass. 81 Plains or Pueblo. The Santo Domingo, the Jemez, the Quiris, Pecos, San Felipe, the Sia, Santa Ana, the Tanos, the Tiwas, the Tawas, the Picuris. We've already repeated some of these, but I like these lists because these are, look at all these Pueblo Native Americans. A lot of people might talk about Apache and Comanche, but how many of the people of Costilla County are Tiwas or Towas or Picuris? How many are Jemez or Quiris or Pecos? How many are Tanos, Santa Ana, Sia, SIA, and San Felipe? I think these were like allies. There's like 4 Pueblos that were like friendly. Let's say Tanos Pueblos were, I don't know, Santa Ana, Sia, San Felipe. But to think that your ancestors couldn't have come from Picuris Pueblo or Taos Pueblo or, you know, Owinge, I think it's a very strong possibility. I think it definitely could be possible. 82, true or false? There were more than 1,000 Spaniards living in Santa Fe in July 1694. 82, true or false? True, 1,100. So way over 1,000. That's what they brought. There was 900 before, right? Then 200 came in. Now you got 1,100 Spaniards. But it also kind of shows you, you got Pueblos that are bigger than Santa Fe. Some of these Pueblos have 10 to 20,000 people. So, my God, that's all they had to do is just overwhelm them in numbers. So, more than 1,000 Spaniards. I think there was only like 1,000 or 2,000 during the first revolt or the revolution. So crazy that, you know, 1,000 Spaniards were able to subdue tens of thousands of native Puebloans. What happened to Juan de Zaldivar and the 11 Spanish soldiers on December 4th, 1598 at Acoma? At the Acoma Pueblo after stealing corn and blankets from Quiris women and children. So Juan de Zaldivar, 11 Spanish soldiers out of 18, they're stealing corn and blankets from the Acoma Pueblo, December 4th, 1598, and the Acoma Puebloan people are going to kill them. They're going to kill Juan de Zaldivar and 11 Spanish soldiers. December 4th, 1598. Now, next month, January 22nd to the 24th, 1599, you're going to have a 3-day battle, which is just for revenge. So, what happened to the 12? They killed the 12 people, the 12 Spanish soldiers, right? You're stealing my fucking corn, you're stealing my blankets from, fuck you, motherfucker. You're stealing my food from my goddamn family, you son of a bitch. But then, they're going to come back a month later, total revenge, retaliation thing, and they're going to kill 500. They're going to kill 500 Acoma Puebloan natives in revenge for killing those 12 motherfuckers, you know, that was doing shit they shouldn't have been doing to begin with. 500 Acoma Puebloans. It's amazing that there were any Acoma Puebloans left. And then after they killed 500 Acoma Puebloans, you know what they did with the rest? They amputated 24 amputations, cut a foot or cut a hand off, and then enslaved the rest. Jesus Christ. I guess that was a bad, not a good example, huh? 1598, this is what? So what? Juan de Zaldivar, the Acoma Pueblo people were just supposed to accept this motherfucker stealing corn and blankets from their families. And then You know, because they didn't accept it. 500 of them. Woo! 85 of the Acoma Puebloans who weren't killed. Yeah. What year was the first Folsom arrowhead found? Where at and by whom? Why is it called Folsom Arrowhead? They found it in New Mexico. In New Mexico by a man named McJunkin. In Folsom, New Mexico, 1908. By George McJunkin, who was an ex-slave turned cowboy. But 1908. So it wasn't just 113 years ago we just found the first Folsom arrowhead. How many bison were found at the Stewart's Cattle Guard site just north of Blanca, Costilla County? How many bison? How many bison? There was over 30. There was over 30. At first, I thought there was 49 buffalo, but there's 49 bison antiquus. Right, 49 animals were determined from left astragale. So they figured out that there were 49 animals total, but not all of them were buffaloes. Over 30 of them were buffaloes, so that means 19 of them were something else. 88. When did Zebulon Pike get to Costilla County? That was in 1807. And he built his stockade in Sanford. It was January, February 1807. He's going to get arrested February 26th to give you... So I don't know, I mean, you don't build a stockade in one day, right? You start building it, and it takes... So January, February 1807, that's when Zebulon Pike crossed Costilla County, went to Conejos County, set up shop over there. There's a Zebulon Pike stockade right now. They rebuilt it. Let's see, 89. All right, 3 more minutes. San Juan Pueblo, a.k.a. Owinge. San Juan Pueblo, a.k.a. Owinge. 89. What's the question? Which Pueblo did Popeye come from? The Owinge Pueblo, San Juan Pueblo. Who burned down Fort Pueblo on December 25th, 1854? I should put Tierra Blanca's name down. White Earth. A Native American named White Earth. But the who burned down, I should say who is the chief and who are the 2 tribes that burned down Fort Pueblo, December 25th, 1854. This is the Christmas. So Pueblo is established today because of Fort Pueblo, but when they first established it, Christmas Day, 1854, they're going to get killed, all of them, except for like 3 of them. And they're all going to get killed by the Muwashi and Dindi Utes and the Yikari Apache. So the Utes and the Apache, and the chief was Tierra Blanca. 91. 34, War of 1812, Toronto. So Zebulon Pike. I think I'm going to take a break after this. How old was Zebulon Pike when he was killed? In what war? What present-day city was he killed at? Who is responsible for that war? So Zebulon Pike made it all the way over here, 1807. He's accomplished, what, in his 20s or something, 1807. And then he's going to get killed in the War of 1812. He was 34 years of age in Toronto, Canada. He didn't even die in America. He died in, invading, I guess, another nation. He was invading Mexico, then he was invading Canada. But he got killed in the War of 1812, and, of course, fucking James Madison and Henry motherfucking Clay were responsible for that goddamn shitty war. So, 1779 is 92. What year is Chief Greenhorn killed by Governor Anza? 1779.